of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Commissioner Marks is on his way and will be here probably any second, so as of right now, we'll skip that. We'll go to approval of the agenda. Everybody has the agenda in front of them. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
All right, a motion and support to approve the agenda. Any additions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, the executive director of the BAAA and the SCOA are here. I didn't know if you wanted them on the agenda or if you wanted them to speak during public comment.
We'll just have them speak during public comment. Probably best that they don't speak if we want to go into too much. If we're going to talk about an ongoing investigation, probably not go too in depth. I talked to Dr. Boggs this afternoon and said maybe it'd be better that they send us some written invoices, and then when they further their investigation, then we can come back to present. I didn't realize we were still basically at stage 1 of investigation, so.
Well, just to speak to that, BAAA's investigation is concluded.
Okay.
SCOA's is still ongoing, so
Okay.
I would, if possible, I would like for Ms. Albert to speak during public comment.
Yeah, speak during public comment. Perfect, that'll work. All right, anything else? All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda is approved. At this point, we'll move to public comment. I have no slips for anybody that's signed in yet. And I will give the chair over to...
Couldn't wait 2 minutes on me?
Piece of paper, sorry.
We're almost done.
I wish you were.
So we're at public comment.
All right. Is there anyone?
Mr. Chairman, Yoshika Albert is filling out a form. She's from the BAAA.
Glad you could make it.
There. You know the radio trains
Yeah, they did.
when you're already running late. And you gotta park, you turn around, detach and reattach.
All this.
I know, it seems like if we knew somebody from Durand could take care of that for us.
What is that?
Take her train. You can
You're
stand or
fine.
sit.
Wherever you guys want me to go.
You
Wherever
can,
you want to be.
you can stand or sit.
I can sit, stand, whatever you want me to do.
Wherever you feel.
My name is Yoshika Albert. I am the president and CEO of Valley Area Agency on Aging, and I came to speak to you about the issue between Valley and Shiawassee Council on Aging in regarding the email intrusion incident that happened. I want to let you all know that it was not a just basic phishing scam that happened in regards to the email intrusion. It literally was someone hacked into the SCOA's email account and monitored their actual email that went back and forth to Valley Area Agency on Aging. They literally monitored their email accounts, that particular email account, the email exchange between Valley Area Agency on Aging and SCOA. They literally, there's legitimate emails going back and forth between SCOA and Valley. And then they literally inserted an email in there asking, oh, by the way, we need to update our account information. That's literally what happened. There was no random email that just came out of the blue and said, oh, by the way, can you send your son is in jail and send us $44,000. That's not what happened.
Nigeria.
Yeah, that is not what happened. You know, it's not odd for a provider to change account information. Shiawassee Council, SCOA has changed their account information in 2018, and then in 2019. So that's not odd. Stuff happens. So I do want to let you all know that we were transparent. We notified the Flint police, and we worked with Detective Bard, who focuses on their cyber issues. We notified our bank. We notified the Aging and Adult Services Agency, who is our state monitoring agency. We notified our insurance company, we notified the lawyer, we notified the FBI, we notified the board chair, we notified the SCOA's board chair, and we notified you all once our investigation finished. I'm trying to hurry up and rush. Once the agency and adult services agency, the state entity, we had our full board meeting towards the end of June. The ASA, the Aging and Services Adult Agency, said, hold on, we may have some insurance that can reimburse you as well. So I had to wait until they told us how much they could reimburse us, if anything. And then once I found out exactly how much money we got reimbursed, which was very little, $10,000 total, that's when I let you all know. The $33,000 that we're gonna reimburse them in total, with the $5,000 that we got back from Huntington Bank, who felt bad and just gave us a community donation, and $5,000 that we got back from the insurance company. The $33,000 in total is from our unrestricted fund balance. It's important for us to make sure that the seniors that provided the services, the aides that provided services to the seniors, get reimbursed. This was an unfortunate thing that happened, but we really want to get back to the business of providing services to seniors. I'm confident. We've been doing business with SCOA for well over 20 years. And I'm confident that once they produce a cyber plan, that this will not happen again. So I just want you all to know, this is no willy-nilly thing that just happened off the cuff. And I want you all to know that. Thank you.
While you're here, does anybody have any questions? If that's okay with you, you don't have to answer.
No, I don't have any problem answering any questions.
I do. I have some questions on, so when an AHC changes, how many verifications are there? How many steps? How many signatures? Because I feel like things we get from Council on Aging, we only get one signature. There's no other authorization, so not more than one person isn't laying eyes on it. Is that something that's going to be looked at in the future, as far as if they're sending you something or when you're sending them money, there's going to be more than one person verifying this or seeing this?
Yes, so our procedure is, normally it goes through the accountant to the CF, and then the CFO has to approve it. So that's a two-step verification. But now it's going from the accountant, and then we have to do either a face-to-face or virtual. It was a pandemic going on at the time, but we have to do a face-to-face or a virtual face-to-face, and then the CFO will approve it.
Are you saying that more than one person approved this routing change number?
Yes, it's a verification through our accountant and then our CFO.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And the account was a Shiawassee County bank account.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So when they verified, it was the scammers had set up a bank account in Shiawassee County.
No, I understand. When you have verification, you have it for a reason.
Right.
Because people are supposed to verify. Apparently, this is human failure then.
Yes, but it was
If
human.
it was one person, you'd say somebody had just not thinking, whatever. But when it's two people, one with the responsibility of verifying such a change.
But Commissioner, what you don't understand is this wasn't just a random ACH request that came through, sir.
No, I do understand that. I do understand that.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is when you have a one-step process that fails, that's one thing. We have a two-step process that fails, that's a human failure. Again, I'm not involved in it. I'm not even saying it's not a reasonable thing. That you say, of course this is legitimate, I'm just gonna, it's
Yes,
my
we
job-
have, our
it's
accountant
my
does it,
job
and then
to-
our
My
CFO.
job to verify it, to look and say, whatever it is, you have verification
Yes,
for a
sir.
reason.
Yes.
You weren't here yesterday, but I spoke of that very often these things happen because of they exploit human nature. And human nature is 9,999 times it's been exactly the same thing. And then that last time, somebody exploits the fact that it becomes perfunctory. And that is a difficult thing to guard against. I
Yes, sir.
understand that it is.
Yes, so we do have a two-step process.
Okay.
So I think it would have went back to Commissioner Broder's point yesterday on a change. Had the accountant or somebody called Miss Mayhew, she would have known right away, no, we didn't change our, so that's why I think he's getting to the point of it's a human error. I mean, it seems like you would have called, or somebody would have made a call maybe. But we're so fast now, everybody wants everything now, and they want it so fast that we forget to do those little things of thinking about, maybe I should call Cynthia and see, did she change it? Seems like we're in such constant communication, I would know if she was changing something. I mean, don't you think somebody would have, if they were changing it, they might have said, hey, I'm going to be changing it, so you're going to have a change form's going to be coming maybe?
But that's how the process happened though, sir. If under normal circumstances, if the email would have just came out of the blue, then I would say yes, they would have called Cynthia. But the email literally came over a source of normal email. So for instance, the email came, hey, I'm having some email issues. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, we're also having some account issues. I need to update the account. That's literally how it came, because he was monitoring all of the exchanges. So it literally came as part of a series of legitimate emails. So and it came from Cynthia's actual SCOA email address. It did not just pop up out of the blue as an odd request.
Yeah.
It came as a, oh, by the way, this is what's going on as well type request, in the midst of legitimate emails. So that's why it didn't dawn on her to even call, because it's in the midst of normal email exchanges. Out of 15 emails that went through, 3 of them were from the hacker. The other 12 were legitimate email requests.
Which is why you have verification. But please understand, I'm not beating up on you or your organization. I was in IT for over 20 years. I wrote code that we dealt with literally hundreds of billions of dollars. And as such, when we made changes, we had to have management verification. And in 20 years, I don't recall one time any manager looking at my code. They just say, oh, okay, and they sign off on it. That's human nature.
Mm-hmm.
You get to trust people, you get to trust it, and that's what they exploit. So I
Understand,
do
sir.
understand exactly what happened, and I'm not looking to throw anybody
No, I understand.
onto the fire for this. I'm just saying that's...
Well, we did make some changes though.
You can buy all the IT software you want in the world, but it's very difficult to get rid of that human element.
You're correct, sir.
Very difficult.
And we did make some changes because of this. Thank you for
Would it
saying.
be okay if I ask a quick question as well? Ma'am, I believe you said that the Aging and Adult Services was able to give you 10,000.
No, sir. I said that we received 10,000. We got 5,000 from Huntington Bank, which is our bank. They actually said, you know what, this is horrible. We're going to give you a community grant to help offset this.
Right.
And 5,000 came from wire transfer, our wire transfer insurance. We tried to get money from our cyber.
Oh, I see. So you got 10,000 total.
Yes.
So I guess my point is, so the rest of the money
It's
that you're using to recoup the loss at SCOA, it's coming out of your own agency's pocket?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought, and I think that was loss of communication. So I, at least on behalf of myself, deeply appreciate that.
Mhm. Yes, sir. It's coming out of our unrestricted funds. And no senior services are going to be affected by that, and no senior is not going to get services because of that.
Commissioner Holzhausen, did you have anything?
No, we had a meeting today on it and for hours, and we went through all the steps that they're hiring special attorneys and special I haven't got it all down.
Yes, cybersecurity company.
Security companies, and got to pay so much amount and set it all up. So I guess nothing's guaranteed in life, but it's going to be better.
Commissioner Webster, anything there?
No, I think it's been pretty well covered. I know that changes have been made at VAAA, and as Commissioner Holzhausen said, we met today in an emergency meeting with the SCOA board with Yashika, and really went over a plan for how this will be avoided in the future, and how, the SCOA investigation is still ongoing, so I don't want to speak a lot about that, but everybody's working really hard to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
That's what
I also,
Last month I was at the meeting and I did bring it up that we had a problem, but there was no, we didn't know what they were then and I didn't have any questions on it. So it's not a secret. So it was a month ago I was here.
And just in way of protecting the county, I would add that there was an email from Cynthia Mayhew to the treasurer's office and to accounts payable to Dane County. They would be aware to not respond to emails or to give any account information or that kind of thing. So from the SCOA perspective, I feel like Cynthia did what she felt like was best to communicate to the county to protect them, protect us. So.
Thank you very much.
If I could.
Yeah.
Sure, we got you.
So, I mean, I think sending it to the accounts payable clerk is not an acceptable way to communicate about the fraud issue.
No.
I mean, I didn't find out about it. Julie didn't communicate it with us. And, I've since resolved that issue with the accounts payable clerk about those kind of things. But, when you're missing $44,000, it should go, someone should have contacted us here, Tracy, the chairman, myself, about those kind of things. As far as the SCOA funding, because you do have a $25,000 check waiting to be drawn from them, I think there's a couple of things, or at least recommendations that I have for you on their financial security moving forward. Is one, it needs 2 signature verification, not just 1 signature from someone in SCOA. There needs to be documentation that supports what the 1-pager is for their actual information. And 2, we need to finalize a new contract agreement that specifies all the terms. And so I think that in order to make this next payment, there definitely needs to be a second signature. We don't even allow anywhere in the county single signature things unless they are routine departmental things. Your pay vouchers require 2 signatures when you turn them in. So there needs to be a second signature on the stuff that Cynthia is turning in, and there needs to be supporting documentation, and we discussed some kind of attestation clause to be added to those, saying that they swear on their credibility that this is true and accurate to the county on penalty of fraud.
No, that was fine. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time coming out here and giving us that explanation. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. We've got Mr. Les Schneider from Durant, Michigan. Floor, it's yours.
Thank you for letting me come before you again. I know I'm not always the most welcome one that shows up. But I have this letter, and it's a grievance letter against the VA chair and director.
I didn't say it was more than that.
As is in the entire thing, his saying is that the chair walked out of our last meeting halfway through. He was upset about the privacy statement, as is in my refusal to sign it as was without an explanation. He turned about, as is in, then said he ordered me out of the open meeting, which by the Open Meeting Act, he cannot do. So he ended the meeting and stormed out. One of the other people, I forget who, has asked the director, Mr. Reeves, if, what are we going to do about the emergency paperwork, the claims that we had sent before us? And his response was, it'll just have to wait till next month. My query is, these are veterans. This is a emergency veteran relief program. Why are we waiting up to 2 months because one person got mad? Why are we not helping these people faster than what we have been in the past? As is in, we're just condoning it. Your car breaks down, you need to get it fixed. You can have a couple days off from your employer, not a big problem, but tell him you're going to have 2 months off, he's going to tell you not to come back. You need to buy groceries. You can't tell your family and kids, we can't eat for the next, 30 days, 60 days. We're all on diets now. Same with all the other emergencies that pop up into somebody's lives. You need to have it happen and cured and fixed right away. And waiting so doggone long is shameful. This is the second time Mr. Nations has walked out of a meeting in the last year.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just respond to that, veterans are not being, not served less. And if our director was here, he would tell you that you're lying, because that's not what he said. Veterans are not waiting 2 months for emergency needs, and you know it. And that's all I'm gonna say, but I'm not gonna let you sit there and let people think that.
We had that meeting.
Point of order.
Yeah, all right, well, we can just finish this on the second end of the meeting if we want to.
Please read it.
You have a right to speak again. All right, let's go ahead and move into our committee motions and reports, and we'll turn it over to Commissioner Plowman for Finance Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve the 2022 child care budget for submission to state as presented.
Second.
Motion and second, item A, questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry on to tomorrow's final meeting.
I move to approve the resolution for the refunding of bonds.
Second.
Motion and second, item B, questions or discussion over the item?
I got a little question. That's mental health, health and wellness. We're gonna have, the bonds are higher rate, and we're gonna see if we can get a lower rate and save around 400,000.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Just quick,
Any others? All right, hearing none. Item B, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
I move to approve the coordinator's budget memo and budget timeline as presented.
Second.
Item C, moved and seconded, questions or discussion? Yes.
I presented the budget memo to the staff this morning at our leadership meeting, and it was well received, and they're used to this as the second go-around of it.
Very good. Good job. Anyone else? All right, item C, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
I move to approve the recommended second quarter budget adjustments for coding changes and consolidated funds.
Second.
Item D, moved and seconded, questions or discussion over this item?
One point, in your package, you do have one additional item that is part of that, which is moving some restricted funds to the general fund to pay some bills.
Anyone else? Hearing none, all in favor, item D, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Move to approve the resolution number 21-07-10, approving the request by the Shiawassee County Treasurer to reassert local foreclosing governmental authority from the Michigan Department of the Treasury.
Support.
Item E, moved and supported, questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of E, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve, this is E1. I move to approve resolution number 21-07-12, authorizing the treasurer to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the State of Michigan Land Bank to form a local Shiawassee County land bank.
Support.
Item E1, moved and supported, questions or discussion over this item? Talked about it for a couple months now. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
I move to authorize the contract extension with SRESD for IT services for the county in the amount of $118,500 from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, and authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Support.
Item F, moved and supported. Questions or discussion? Yes.
Mr. Chair, so I talked to the RSD today. This is a freeze for this year. It is not increasing. The plan now is to combine all three of them under one bill, and then we'll be able to break them out by the determination of the board of what percentage is billed against Sheriff's Department, the Health Department, et cetera, and the contract moving forward. So that after this one-year extension, they'll all be on one bill,
Gotcha.
and you can determine appropriations.
All right, anybody else? All right, item F, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the replacement of a district court deputy clerk at a pay grade 3.
Support?
Item G, moved and supported. Open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move to approve the replacement of the legal assistant in the prosecutor's office at a grade 3 between $15.07 to $18.42 per hour.
Support?
Item H, moved and supported. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman, for your report. At this time, we'll move into our Econ and Physical Development Committee. Mr. Board Chair, would you mind going through these for me, as I cannot make a motion?
I will do that, thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Durham Beach Tree Service in the amount not to exceed $8,100.
Support.
Item A, moved and supported. Questions or discussion? Yes.
Updated?
No.
He's gonna do the stumps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll have something in writing from him before he begins.
Yeah, I was out there with
Just to
Tim.
make sure.
I was out there, Tim and I went out and looked at the park, and I thought there was a half a dozen. There's at least 16 trees out there that are
16.
dead or need attention, and I think there's several other ones that are poor condition. We're gonna have to do something with them in another year or so.
Okay.
Him and I walked it over, but, and
Thank you for
we've
doing
had this Drumby do other work for us in the county, and he does an excellent job, and he's local, so lives out in New Haven Township, so.
Awesome. Yeah, very good. Anybody else? All right. Item A, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Move to approve the bid from JMR Masonry Company in the amount not to exceed $10,885 for blocking of the jail windows.
Support.
Item B, moved and supported. Questions or discussion over this item? All right, hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Move to approve the filling of a maintenance 1 position partially dedicated to parks at a pay grade 3.
Support.
Item C, moved and supported. Open for discussion. Hearing none. All in favor, item C, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item C carries.
I move to approve the PA 116 farmland agreement application 210002 through 210011 for the David R. Williams Trust as presented.
Support.
Item B, moved and supported. Questions or discussion over this? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And Mr. Board Chair, I thank you for reading the report. You're welcome. So we will now move on to Chairman Broder of Public Safety and Courts for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to authorize the sheriff to hire one new sheriff's deputy for the terms outlined in the contract between the Shiawassee County and the Teamsters.
Support.
Item A, moved and supported. Questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move to approve the dual mode lighting from Lumenserve an amount of $24,975 with the additional assurance warranty and compliance monitoring.
Support.
Item B, moved and supported. Questions or discussion? Yes.
Yeah, I'm on the 911 board, and this is a new a tower we're gonna put up for 911, and it's LED, and it's safer. Before our other one, we had to paint it, and it was gonna cost at least sometimes $15,000 to just paint the old towers. So, and it's gonna be completely updated and working great, so.
Good job. Good.
It comes out of their budget too, so. Not the county.
All right. Anybody else? All right, hearing none. All in favor of moving item B forward onto tomorrow, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Broder. Now we'll turn the floor over to Chairman of Health and Human Services Committee, which is Cindy.
Thank you. I would move that we approve the addendum to the 2019 Mid-State Health Network Substance Use Disorder Oversight Policy Advisory Board Intergovernmental Agreement.
Support.
Item A, moved and supported. Questions or discussion?
I was gonna say, is there any way we could add one more word to that title? Man, impressive.
All right. Hearing no other discussion regarding item A, all in favor of moving it forward on to tomorrow for a final vote, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I would move that we approve the medical examiner agreement and authorize the chairman to execute said agreement.
Support.
Being moved and supported. Questions or discussion regarding this item? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, as the chairman of the board suggested yesterday, that we go back and tell them that there would be no increase, and so they countered with 2% instead of 4%, which is a savings of $5,000 on the contract.
All right.
So,
See, you stink and you
See?
saved us some money.
See, I'm still voting no, but
You're not gonna raise over that either.
All right, anyone else?
so the new total that'll be reflected is 185, 616 instead of 189.
Good. I'm happy. All right, all in favor of moving that on to tomorrow, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
aye.
Motion will carry with one nay. Thank you very much.
That concludes my report.
Very good. Mr. Board Chair, if you will, could you go over my committee of the whole report as well?
Yes, I would make a motion to move our August dates up a week. We went back a week, and since the fair is no longer needed for, there won't be any fair booth, there won't be any commissioner work out there, and I believe Dr. Boggs may have had a conflict, so we're trying to move these so that it was the bonds.
It's the bonds.
It's the bonds is what it was, the timing of the bonds.
After you get support it.
Yes.
We can't be a week later, we gotta
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
Essentially,
it was the
it's gonna
bonds
be the
is what it
second
was.
full week like we usually do.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll
Just
be.
during fair week, right?
Just
Yeah.
that fair week.
But we won't be doing any fair booths, so we won't be, usually a lot of us are out there all day, but
Okay. Any-
that's all I have, if there's a motion, if there's a
Do we have
second.
a second? We didn't have a second.
Second.
Well, good. Now we can
Mr.
actually
Chair.
talk about it. Now we've talked about it.
So the main reason for moving it, usually, we're on a pretty tight timeline for the bonds and the sale and the approval and such, and it's set out for 30 days. So by moving, when I started the bond discussion, I didn't realize that this one was the third week in August. And so now we just move it back to the second week when we would normally hold it. We'll hit all the timelines for the bonds.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And we don't want to drag it out again because the interest rates could change in the next quarter.
Anybody with questions or discussion, complaints over that at all?
No, that's good.
It'll work.
All right. Then item A, all in favor of moving that forward onto a final vote tomorrow, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then that will be added to tomorrow's agenda for a final vote. And I will close that report and then turn the floor over to the chairman of the board, Mr. Root, for anything that you
I'll wait
will-
till tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Then, Mr. Coordinator, anything from you?
Just a couple of quick things. The audit discussion, or the audit presentation was also made to leadership this morning. So we will begin the next steps of creating a plan for how we're going to move forward in the next couple of months. But everyone in a leadership role in the county is now aware of it. Further, we also had a discussion of the audit this morning with them, in particular the last two findings that we still have, including the budget overages line and our plans moving forward. As you know, last year we started sending them emails whenever they had a line item that was over budget and told them that, they needed not go over when the
plaques to their department. However, that proved to be less than useful. Some of them made adjustments, some of them did not. This time, every time anyone goes over the budget, they have to have a meeting with Tracy and myself to make budget adjustments so that they do not go over in their total budget. And pulling from fund balance is just not a solution. So you have to either make adjustments from one line item to another based on spending or make cuts. So we're slightly more than halfway through the year, so we're starting to see it begin happening in a couple of departments here or there that may not have budgeted as much as they should. So we're making adjustments to those as we go forward. And I think that is it.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we'll move on to our second opportunity for the public to address these.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
If I may, I just want to, in case anybody doesn't know, I'll let you know I will ask to be excused from tomorrow's meeting to attend an out-of-town funeral. That's all.
Sorry to hear that. All right, public comment. Mr. Schneider, the floor is yours.
To clarify, my statement for 2 months, majority of those applications come in prior to the meeting, if not all. Last month, there was 4 or 5 of them in the packet. That means they could have very well waited a month prior to that meeting. And then when the meeting ended and they weren't addressed, this is the second month as of next week. That's 2 months. Do they teach math and addition differently over in Bennington?
I'm not gonna argue with you, Les. We have a director, Mike Reeves, who's very competent, and he's not letting veterans go 2 months without emergency help.
We have not had a meeting. This is to address those applications in the last month. So he is letting it slide. And that's a problem with him and Mr. Nations. And that needs to stop. If they don't want to do that, then that's a problem the commissioners are going to have to deal with. I would like to get a copy of that grievance letter, and please have it timestamped, just for my records. And I got curious as I had a phone call a couple days ago, and it got me wondering about something. So I went back through my copy of the Shiawassee County Personnel Policy Handbook. On page 24, which I just looked up, naturally I won't be able to find it right away because that's the way I am. Shiawassee County is committed to protecting its revenue, property, information, and other assets, any attempt, and it reads on for a quarter of the page. If somebody reports something, there's something wrong. The title on this is Illegal and Unethical Activity Policy. And somebody does something wrong, employee thinks it is wrong, and he reports it. She reports it. However, it'll be handled quickly and efficiently and all that gee whiz. Last sentence in here, if such a report is made in good faith, the county will protect the reporting employee from any retaliation or other detrimental impact upon his or her employment. As is, so if you say there's something wrong, it will be investigated and dealt with by this county commission, which only goes in as expected, but you can't go after the person that reported it. You can question it all you like, but okay? As is, and I say all this is because I have been told by a number of times is that this could be my career-ending opportunity on the VA committee. Last time, 11 years ago, my whole VA committee, myself, we were removed by the then commissioners and Miss Margaret McAvoy. It was a very long, tedious hearing, but it was already a foregone conclusion. But by the time it all ended, it cost the county roughly $16,000 to remove us. And the only reason we got removed is because we would not let the commissioners have free access to the veterans funds. And we said no. The law, the PA 214,
Not true either, Les.
No, Les.
Come
that's not
on.
true.
We have
Come
a
on.
reserve for.
it's my
There was
time.
court cases and court
You
cases.
can't keep
Come
talking.
on.
You come here every month and you say stuff that's just not true, Les. You call me. I tell you it's not true. And for whatever your last comment about this being your last attempt to be on it, I am the reason why your removal has not been brought to this body. Me and only me.
I'm not
I don't
arguing
think anyone
that.
else up here has got
Jeremy.
time for it.
I am
Anymore.
not arguing that.
And you're
Jesus,
talking about your people on that board that you work with. I mean, these people are tired of it too. You're saying they're mad because they're walking out of meetings? They have trouble dealing with you, Les. I've been
You're
telling you
supposed to-
this
you
friendly. I've
are-
been telling you this to your face. I've been trying to tell you this personally. They're having problems with you and you're blaming everyone else except you.
May I continue?
Your time is up. We can talk afterwards
So
if
you
you'd
can,
like.
you can accuse me of things in
You've been
public, but
accusing
I
us
can't
for
say
months,
anything
Les.
else.
You've been accusing us for months. You want to run the veterans yourself, but yet you're down here every month wanting us to run the
I
veterans.
have told you repeatedly.
And then you say, don't run the veterans, we don't want you involved. But what do? You file a grievance and you want to fight with us every month so that we can come up and micromanage Mike Reeves and the rest of the vets.
I have told you repeatedly, go ahead, remove me and the rest of the committee
Just gavel me.
and
I'm done
half
with
of
this.
the other people.
I'm done having a back and forth about this. This is every month and it's not going to stop. And it's simply not true.
No, it is true, and you just don't want to admit it.
Where has there been any proof of anything, Les? You have no proof of anything.
Simple.
The second you commissioners decided to engage with him, I'm not gonna gavel him. He gets it right, or else then we will be sued. Is that what we want?
We're going to get sued because you can't come in here and lie? Please.
I'm not.
Anyone has a right to
I'll take
say
that lawsuit.
No, Mr. Painter, I'm the chairman of the board, and I will sit here and open this floor and close the floor when I decide I will do it. And you can remove me as the vice chairman of whatever this committee is if you want to do that.
Mr.
Until then,
Marcy.
Les, you can talk until you're done.
Okay. You want proof of some wrongdoing? Explain to me, any
I'm
of
going to
you,
walk out of the meeting because I'm not going to.
why we have over $2 million in the
crap
Veterans
over and
Relief
over
Fund
again.
and Service Fund.
Now he can report on me for walking out of the meeting. Maybe there'll be a grievance filed. I'm not going to sit here and listen to that. That's lies, constant lies.
So,
And then we allow it to go
just
on.
think about it. How did we go from $160,000 a year for helping veterans in that millage, and now it's up to $1 million? How many veterans are we helping? Why are we not controlling that millage number down to keep it down within a reasonable amount over what we spent traditionally last year, the year before, and the year before that? Why did we allow it to go up to $1 million? That is proof that there is a problem up there. And it should be investigated, looked into, questions asked about it. That's all I'm saying, and the people that we keep putting in there, which are appointed by the committee, this committee, may not be the best people, best fit. And a couple of them have been a real wrong fit, and they're not here. But we need to do something up there, and it needs to help more veterans, which in turn helps a lot of families. Name one family that doesn't have a vet in it. It'll be awfully hard. For some reason, Shiawassee is full of scrappy people. I am one. But I'm also a veteran, as in I'm a strong advocate for helping the veterans. They served, a lot of them died, and we get mad and storm out of meetings. And I'm going, that's childish. I said, so you should, step forward and say, okay, we'll look into it, and honestly look into it. Don't just ask questions as of people that are going to give you an answer just to cover their butts. Because they're not doing what they should be doing. There's not very many veterans that go in there, because they get the same response. You need help, you got to wait till next meeting. Well, it's an emergency. That's too bad. Meeting don't meet until 4 weeks away. You know, and these are kinds of responses that should not be. It never was before. You would get an answer and you get help, within a few days to a week. Now it's a month or more. And I appreciate you all sitting here and listening, and even the ones that disagree. It's still, I care very much about our veterans and the way they get treated. You can ask that of anybody, and I help a lot of people. Not always just the vets. But that's what the veterans are all about. Okay, so I would like to get that grievance, as is in, if Mr. Root wants to push getting rid of me, that's up to him. I hope you guys have enough sense to think for yourselves, as is in what it's going to end up. Last time the bunch tried it, there was a recall on every chair in here. Even though it didn't technically remove anybody on the recall, half the commissioners refused to run the next election, and the ones that were left over got voted out. So this is not a lifetime appointment. You have to do what's right, then people know. That's it. That's all. This is all we're asking for is to be heard, and you guys do what you're supposed to, is support the public. You got your lawyer face on, right? I was going to ask you, how do I say something derogatory about a lady in an open meeting, but it's not worth it. So anyway, I thank you for listening to me. And if I go, it'll go down fighting. And you really don't want to give me free time and piss me off at the same time. Tried it before. You saw the results. We can try it again. Okay? And I thank you, Brandon, as vice chair, for your decisions. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Stay out of trouble.
Thank you. Madam Cynthia Mayhew, still want? The floor is yours. Come on.
Thanks, Brandon. Dr. Boggs' recommendations were made, and I appreciate his recommendations. I just want to know, moving forward, is our money going to be held? Because that remark was made in yesterday's meeting. And I just want to make sure, what do we need to do to move forward And I think it's fair for me to ask that.
That is up to the board. I mean, I made my recommendations of dual signatures and the additional paperwork, and then work towards an agreement, but that's up to the board.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment, after listening to the director from VAAA, and of course, they've done their due diligence and what they're gonna do, and, 2 signatures and backup for each one, that's what we do, all our motions have all that in it, you know? And with that, as Chair of Finance, I would be satisfied.
We've only done what we've been asked to do from the county from the get-go. So I have no problem. And when they said sign the paper, I signed the paper. So, I'm willing to work with you guys. I just need to know, I gotta make sure that our senior services are not in jeopardy.
Oh, yeah. And if you have any, in the future, we have Tracy and Lacey and Doc. I mean, they're here in the office on a daily basis. And questions, really go to them, Yeah, so.
I know, it's, the people that I work with and that's all I can say right now, with the attorney-client privilege information with this ongoing investigation. And I'm really hoping, that it really comes to light, for everybody to have an answer. So, believe me, this wasn't taken lightly. That's all I want to make sure you guys know that.
Yeah. Thank you for coming today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to address the board at this time?